welcome to the World at Noon. Nigerians sue INEC over incomplete CVR registration. Cuba condemns Israeli's regime's attack on Syria. Biden arrives in UK for Queen's funeral. Thousands in shelters as secular storms hits Japan. 24 Nigerians have filed a lawsuit against the Independent National Electoral Commission for failing to give them and other 7 million Nigerians adequate time and opportunity to complete their voter registration after they have carried out their registration online. According to a statement by the Deputy Director Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, Kolade Oludari, today, the plaintiffs, who are suing for themselves and on behalf of 7 million other Nigerians, want to complete the registration process so that they can obtain their permanent voters' cards and exercise their right to vote. INEC recently disclosed that out of 10,487,972 Nigerians who carried out their pre-registration online, only 3,444,378 completed the process at a physical center. This represents just 32.8% of completed online registration. But in the suit filed last Friday at the Federal High Court, Abuja, the plaintiffs are seeking an order of mandamus to direct and compel INEC to reactivate its continuous voters registration exercise to allow the plaintiffs to complete their registration and collect their PVCs. No date has been fixed for the hearing of the suit. A new transit route will be built between Afghanistan and Iran in Nimruz province. Local sources said that the new transit route will be built due to the inadequacy of the Silk Bridge, the only route for the transfer of commercial goods between Afghanistan and Iran in Nimruz province, to solve the problems of traders and facilitate the passage of commercial goods. The Silk Bridge in Nimruz province, on the borderlines between Afghanistan and Iran, occasionally witnesses excessive overcrowding. To this end, merchants in Nimruz have welcomed the construction of a new transit route and expressed their hope that with this initiative, problems in the field of export and import of commercial goods will be solved. The Silk Bridge border crossing is the only connection between Zaranj city and the Milak border crossing of Iran, and half of this bridge is on the soil of Iran and the other half is part of Afghanistan. Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Cuba, Mr. Bruno Rodriguez Parrilla, has condemned the Israeli regime's recent attack on Syrian territory and citizens. Mr. Parrilla wrote in a tweet today that he strongly condemned Israel's constant attacks on Syrian authority, that is in clear violation of international law and endangering stability in the Middle East. The Cuban foreign minister expressed support and solidarity towards the Syrian government and people. This is the World at Noon, coming to you from Osun State Broadcasting Corporation, Iliawiyo Kebali Oshobo, Voice of the West. Now, a mid-news message. Never play with the feelings of others, because you may win the game, but the risk is that you may surely lose the person for a lifetime. United States President Joe Biden has arrived in London to pay respects to Queen Elizabeth II, who died earlier this month at the age of 96. A planned meeting between Biden and United Kingdom Prime Minister Liz Truss has been postponed until after the Queen's funeral tomorrow. The meeting was initially scheduled to occur before the funeral, but has since been moved to Wednesday. Biden is among the approximately 500 world leaders visiting London for the funeral. Other guests include Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern, Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese, and French President Emmanuel Macron. Members of royal families from across Europe will also be in attendance. Chinese President Xi Jinping will not attend the funeral, however, but Vice President Wang Qishan will make the trip to the UK. Representatives from Russia, Belarus, Myanmar, Syria, Venezuela, and Afghanistan have not been invited. Iran, North Korea, and Nicaragua received invitations to send ambassadors instead of heads of state. Guests are expected to pay their respects to the Queen at a lying state in Westminster Hall and sign a book of condolence at Lancaster House. And ahead of the funeral, world leaders will meet at a formal state reception today, hosted by King Charles III at Buckingham Palace. Police report indicates that activists of a radical group have attacked a Shia procession in Pakistan's Punjab province, leaving at least 13 people injured. According to reports, the Shia procession was going to Imam Baga Congregation Hall in Sialkot, about 130 kilometers from Lahore, in connection with the remembrance and prayer service of Imam Hussein when a group of people armed with pistols, clubs, and stones attacked the mourners. The Chelon is a Shia religious observance that commemorates the martyrdom of Imam Hussein, the grandson of Prophet Muhammad, who was martyred on the 10th day of the month of Muharram. A senior police officer told newsmen that tensions had been simmering over the past few days in the area between the Tehreek-e-Labaik Pakistan and Shia activists over the route of the procession. Thousands are currently taking refuge in shelters in southwestern Japan as powerful typhoon Namadol churned towards the region, prompting authorities to urge over 4 million residents to evacuate. The Japan Meteorological Agency has issued a rare special warning for the Kagoshima and Miyazaki regions in Kyushu Prefecture, an alert that is issued only when it forecasts conditions seen once in several decades. Today, heavy rain and high winds lashed the area on Japan's southern island, with nearly 98,000 households in Kagoshima, Kumamoto, Nagasaki, and Miyazaki already without power. Trains, flights, and ferry runs were cancelled until the passage of the storm, and even some convenience stores generally open all hours and considered a lifeline in disasters were shutting their doors. Information has it that more than 4 million people across Kyushu were issued evacuation warnings, with officials in Kagoshima and Miyazaki saying over 15,000 people are already in local shelters. And here again are the highlights of the world at noon. 24 Nigerians have filed a lawsuit against the Independent National Electoral Commission for failing to give them and other 7 million Nigerians adequate time and opportunity to complete their voter registration after they have carried out their registration online. Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Cuba, Mr. Bruno Rodriguez Parilla, has condemned the Israeli regime's recent attack on Syrian territory and citizens. United States President Joe Biden has arrived in London to pay respects to Queen Elizabeth II, who died earlier this month at the age of 96. And thousands are currently taking refuge in shelters in southwestern Japan as powerful typhoon Namadol churned towards the region, prompting authorities to urge over 4 million residents to evacuate. That was the Word at Noon, edited by Temitope Olajuwola. For more about us, visit www.osbcng.org. Thanks for listening. Good afternoon.